Growing up, my family was always close to my mom's sister. My aunt has two girls who are identical twins, and I was always forced to play nice with them, even though they never wanted to hang out. When I got married, I was manipulated into asking them to be my bridesmaids, and they stood up in my wedding, only for them to go back to ignoring me and not putting forth any effort into the relationship. I mailed them flowers, would call them each month, send happy birthday texts, and handwrite them letters, but they never once initiated. I decided to forego the relationship and stopped reaching out. They didn't reach out or contact me for over a year, only to say thanks after I texted, "Happy birthday." I am turning 30 in a few weeks, and my parents had a plan to host a party with people flying in from across the country. Yesterday, one of the twins had a bridal shower, and I was manipulated again into going, even though I was not asked to be a bridesmaid and I did not want to go. When I got ready for the shower, my mother didn't like my hair and told me to wash it, didn't like my outfit and told me to change. And once I did all those things to just get through the day and survive, then she was upset how little I talked with everyone at the shower and was giving me nasty glares across the table and hitting my knees underneath. I found out at the shower that my twin cousins both bought houses, graduated with their masters, and they didn't even tell me. I felt so hurt at the shower that I decided to tell my parents I did not want them to be invited to my 30th birthday party, as on my 21st, my dog died in my arms, and I've never had a big party for it, and I wanted to have a party with the people who don't make me feel bad about myself. My mom stopped speaking to me. My dad wrote me the most hurtful message I've ever read from him, sharing that they are canceling the party, that they will not be attending, and that I am being a selfish, spoiled brat. In this context, I have invited my twin cousins to every birthday party, every college party, all of it. I have never been invited to any of theirs. I spoke with my brother about the situation, sent him the text messages my dad sent me, and immediately my mom calls my brother apologizing and playing the victim, saying how hard it was for her at the shower because I didn't talk enough to everyone at the party. My brother calls my dad and then talks to me. He and I are very close, and he always has beef with the twins. So I thought he surely would understand how stupid this all sounds. But he instead lectured me on how the family needs to get along and how he needs to play devil's advocate. This all happened as I was in town to visit everyone from the shower. He then proceeded to tell me that I must have hurt people by not talking to them enough. But I did talk to everyone, and as I started to cry, he gave me an ultimatum, saying he could either drive me up to the train station and I catch the next train back to my home, or that I will need to collect myself, as he was having people come over. Since I live in a different state, I was planning on staying at his house instead of my parents', so I decided to Uber to a hotel and stay until my train departs. I feel so betrayed, unsupported, and hurt right now. The worst part is that before my brother spoke with my parents, he offered to host the party instead. But after this, I just want to cancel it all, not go to my cousin's wedding, and distance myself from my family entirely. The truth is, your cousins probably won't even notice if you don't attend the wedding. They don't consider you a close relative. Your other family's obsession with them and your friendship is just a figment. Now is the time to take charge of your life. Your narrative sounds a little childlike. They manipulated me into doing XYZ, ABC. I changed my clothes because she said this. My brother lectured me, etc. Okay, enough now. You are a married, grown woman with your own sensibilities and an ability to say no. Go back to your home, talk with your husband, get therapy if you must, but you need to cut the cord. You are surrounded by people whose very existence and joy is derived from putting you down. We don't choose which family we are born into, but we do choose the one we live with. My brother, we're twins, is so mean. He's constantly doing messed up stuff to me, but the worst thing happened 5 years ago. I got my first boyfriend when I was 18 and a senior in high school. I know we were young, but I really loved him. We'd been dating for 10 months when my brother randomly decided, for literally no reason at all, to make up a story about how he caught me cheating and tell it to my boyfriend. He planned it all out. He came up with details. He made it sound real. And because he's such a scarily good liar and a master manipulator, my boyfriend believed him. No matter what I said or did to prove it wasn't true, he believed my brother over me. My brother kept up with this act the entire time and refused to admit he was lying. At one point, I thought I'd finally gotten my boyfriend to believe me, but then he broke up with me a few months later and confessed it was because he was still convinced I'd cheated on him and he couldn't move past it. He said, "The worst part is that you won't just tell me the truth." And not to sound dramatic, but that still haunts me. I want to cry every time I think about it, and I still miss him to this day. I never got over what my brother did, and I always told myself I was going to do the exact same thing to him one day. He's dated several girls since high school, but he'd never been serious enough about any of them for me to consider tricking them. I knew it wouldn't hurt him like he hurt me if I just tricked one of his flings or something. But he finally got his first serious girlfriend last year, and after thinking about it for a long time, I decided I was going to do it. We live in different places now, so I had to do it all online. I used a different method than he did. I contacted his girlfriend pretending to be the girl he'd been cheating with. I made up an elaborate, detailed story like he did to me, and even photoshopped proof and stuff. I made my story even more believable than he made his, and exactly like he did to me. I went as far as denying it even to him because I knew he might use my texts, calls, to provoke his girlfriend that it isn't true. He knows I'm behind it though, solely because he didn't cheat, and there's no one else that would do this. But I keep denying it. It's been like a week now. His girlfriend wholeheartedly believes me, and my brother keeps calling and texting me and begging me to give it up, even though I still haven't admitted it's me. He's manipulating me and arguing that it's different because I was younger when he did it to me and my relationship wasn't serious. But my relationship was serious, and like I said, I still miss my ex. My brother really messed me up. I have empathy though. He doesn't, and I'm kind of starting to feel bad. Half of me thinks I'm just being manipulated by him like always, and I need to stick to my plan. But the other half is starting to regret this and think that maybe I should tell his girlfriend the truth. Should I feel bad, and should I tell her the truth? Also, I think it's important to note that my brother has never once apologized for what he did. He's so insanely mean that he just thinks it's funny. I even asked him once if he'd consider hitting my ex up and telling him the truth for my peace of mind, and he just laughed at me. Here's your way out. You make a deal. Your brother contacts your ex in front of you and tells him the truth so you can have closure on that. You stop this and explain to the girl why it happened. Both of you look like crappy people to her. She'll probably break up with him anyway. Hopefully both of you are scared enough that you tone down the pranks and revenge pranks in the future. Update. My brother actually cheated on his girlfriend, and my setup was the reason she found out. So me and his girlfriend have sent a few more DMs back and forth. She's still under the impression that I'm some random girl my brother cheated with, obviously. And she asked me a question which led to her admitting that she's been suspicious of him for a long time. I pried a little bit and encouraged her to look through his phone. But she told me she couldn't because she didn't know the passcode and he wouldn't give her access to it. But then I guessed a few passcodes I thought it could be and gave them to her under the guise of seeing it once, but I wasn't sure which one I'd seen. That was kind of dumb, but I couldn't think of anything else to say, and she didn't question it. She got in because it ended up being the same one he's had since 2012, when our dad got us iPhones and made us use the same passcode. Idiot. Anyway, lo and behold, he's been talking to and hooking up with multiple girls for pretty much the entirety of their relationship. I'm not surprised, because he's a terrible person, and cheating seems right up his alley, but I'm shocked at the same time. I literally can't believe things worked out this perfectly. It feels like a dream or something. The universe loves me. I hate to revel in his girlfriend's misery, but I was feeling guilty about her being collateral damage. I know I didn't say it in the original post, but I assumed it was implied. So I feel like this is the best possible outcome. My lie ended up being the truth. Well, not exactly, but you know what I mean. So I didn't scar his girlfriend or leave her with permanent damage for no reason. All my interference did was speed up the process of the truth coming to light. In fact, my brother may have been able to hide his cheating forever if not for me. He probably would have just manipulated his girlfriend or refused to give her phone access forever. Also, I love how the top comments on my post were calling my brother a sociopath, because he totally is, but I didn't want to say anything. I've spent years being told I'm just dramatic when I accuse him of being a sociopath, so I feel very seen now, even if it's just from a bunch of strangers. I'm still not going to admit to my brother that I set him up, because there's no point. That would just get me in deeper trouble. My favorite comment was the one that said, "Deny till you die, baby," because that's exactly what I'm planning on doing. Life's crazy. Edit. I forgot to mention that his girlfriend hasn't broken up with him, and I'm honestly not sure if she will. I don't know how relevant that is, but it attests to how manipulative he is. He screws people over all the time, but somehow always gets his way anyway. It's honestly infuriating and scary. My sister and I are fraternal twins, and she announced her pregnancy in late November. My immediate family has had a rough few years, so we were all very excited for some good news. She has also had trouble conceiving in the past with her husband. I believe she has had 2 failed pregnancies before this one. My sister has been fairly overweight since we were teenagers and carries most of her weight in her stomach. So, to me, she never really looked pregnant, but I brushed that off due to her size. Also, due to virus, she almost always went to her doctor appointments alone. She told us early in her pregnancy that she was considered high risk for a few different reasons. She also has pushed her due date back twice, stating that the baby was younger than they thought originally. Things started to seem suspicious to me about a month or 2 ago, when she told my mom that she went for an amniocentesis and her doctor said that the baby's lung function was weak and was worried about it. My mom originally wanted to drive her to the hospital and wait in the parking lot, but my sister refused, saying she wanted to go by herself. I thought this was strange because she always wants my mom with her for everything. My best friend is a delivery room nurse. I told her this, and she said that an amniocentesis tests mostly for birth defects and is usually done early in the pregnancy. My sister would have been 7 or 8 months. She said maybe my sister was just confused. This sent up red flags for me, however. Here's a little backstory. My sister and I were never super close. We always had extremely different interests and friend groups, but we loved each other. In high school, my sister made up a fake boyfriend. She created a fake social media for him, talked about him constantly, and even told her friends about him. No one had ever met or seen him. She didn't have pictures of him and always had an excuse on why he was never around. Her friends picked up on that he was fake and turned on her. They picked on her pretty viciously about it. My mom wanted me to stand up for her against these girls, which I ended up doing and resolving the situation. I tried to tell my mom, though, that my sister had lied, but my mom refused to believe me, saying I was just being mean. Later on in college, my sister made up that she was student teaching a group of special needs kids. Once again, talked about them all the time, never had pictures, and always seemed to come home right after her college courses. So I do not know when she would have had time to do this student teaching. At this point in my life, I could just tell when my sister was lying. We have spent more time together in our lives than anyone else. I tried to tell my mom that she is making all this up, but once again, my mom said I was just being mean. During her years in college, she also lost academic scholarships and later could not pass the praxis to become a teacher like she had originally planned. She changed her major and it took her an extra 2 years to graduate. I think my sister has created these fake people in situations in order to impress other people and make herself look better than she is actually doing. She is such a kind, sweet, and often super naive person. She has had a lot of problems with anxiety and depression also. So after the whole amniocentesis thing, I brought it up to my mom that I think there is a slight possibility that my sister may not be pregnant. This time, my mom acted like it was actually a real possibility. I asked her if she had ever seen any tangible paperwork or ultrasounds from the hospital, and she said no. At this time, my mom and I have spent hundreds of dollars on baby things because we were not able to have a baby shower because of virus. My sister's husband was unemployed, and they have always struggled with money, so we wanted to make sure everything was taken care of. We thought that, though my sister has her issues, she would never let us spend all this money for nothing. A few days ago, my sister tells us she went to the ER the night before with pain in her side, and that the baby no longer had a heartbeat when they got to the hospital. I told her I was sorry and to let me know how I could help. She said she just wanted to be alone with her husband. I immediately reverse image searched the ultrasound she had texted me in April. 42 results came back, and it appears to be a stock photo. It's also cropped to where it is just the image of a fetus and no text. So now I'm 98% sure she was lying about everything. I haven't spoken to her since. I wanted to be livid. My mom had also painted a whole nursery for this baby. She has stressed so much about my sister's health because she had such a sick, high-risk pregnancy. I hate what she has done to my mom. I don't care about all the money I spent, but my mom has stayed up sick with worry and spent so much money. I don't know how she could let us do so much for her. She is obviously very unwell and needs immediate help. I plan on talking to my mom first about everything. How can I bring this up to my mom and, more importantly, help my sister? Your sister sounds like a pathological liar. The things she's making up are not one-off fibs. They are elaborate fabrications that require sustained and exhaustive lying. Have you spoken to her husband about this? It sounds like she needs therapy, and getting him on board might be helpful. You are unlikely to convince your mom. Parents can be very, very delusional about their children, especially when it comes to such a serious issue like this. Your sister has always been a liar, and your mom has always insisted she isn't. So I don't think after 30 years you're going to find the magic words to open her eyes. You can show her the ultrasound, but she will likely find an excuse for any sort of evidence you present to her. I would come at this with her husband instead, and if he's unwilling to acknowledge that she has a problem, then honestly, I'd just leave it alone and scale back the relationship. Your sister has serious mental health issues. I think that could be the basis for your discussion with your mother. This might be difficult for your mother to accept, so you may have to roll out the evidence slowly and methodically to build the case. I'm sorry for your family difficulties.